also a friend of Ian, to play Jack Wade, the CIA agent.
He was also the past sheriff, so when they did the stunts, when the car did the 360 barrel roll,
Right?
he was the sheriff.
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
That was Clifton James.
oh,
Was that actor?
Jack Wade
Living
was in.
Daylights.
He was in. Yeah, he was Brad Whitaker.
Right.
Yeah, you're thinking of that,
Okay.
Brad Whitaker.
So, and then Sean Bean was cast as Trevelyan in 006. They wanted someone near Pierce's age. They liked his testing for the role of Bond, and they wanted someone physical match for him in the fight sequences. So he became, the new Bond villain. And Alan Cumming was cast to play Boris Grushenko, a British actor, and up and coming British actress Minnie Driver played Irina, Zukowski's vocally challenged mistress. So,
Stand by your man.
Strangling the cat.
now as for the basic MI6 crew, they decided to go with new actors to play Moneypenny. Samantha Bond became the new Moneypenny. Now the thing is, she actually was very close friends with Carolyn Bliss, the part of Moneypenny. They went to grammar school together. They went to theater school together, and Samantha Bond didn't really want to tell her about it until a few weeks later. She did reveal it to her, and Carolyn was actually thrilled. She said that it's great. She said that she's glad she's going to someone she knows, and she was going to become a mother, so she really didn't want to do the role.
Flush.
thank you.
Michael Kitchen was cast to play Bill Tanner, probably I think the best Tanner in the series. The character had been prior featured in Fiore's Only, his character was completely off in that film. And if you blink and you miss it, he's also the man with the golden gun, the character. And as for M, they wanted a well-known British actress to play the role, and they went with Judi Dench, who was very, very well respected. She had been in a show called As Time Goes By at the time with Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Palmer.
Jeffrey Palmer. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, and who shows up later on in Tomorrow Never Dies, and it's a great show if you get a chance to watch it. But ironically, no matter how experienced she was, she's still incredibly nervous when they were filming. With the scene when she does the briefing with Bond, she's supposed to light a cigarette. Her hands are shaking so much that Martin Hillman said, "No, don't bother." And they said, "Well, maybe she could have a saucer and a cup of tea." But her hand was shaking the same. So they said, "No, no," and they decided to go with the bourbon. That she gives Bond the drink. And interestingly enough, her first role for television was alongside Bernard Lee, the original M. So
Well, she probably when she poured the drink, it was shaken, not stirred.
yeah, exactly. But they couldn't do the film though without Q. Desmond Llewellyn came back to play the role once again, making the only actor to appear alongside the first 5 James Bonds. And famously, Michael Wilson held the cue cards for him when he was doing his scenes. Lindy Hemming became the costume designer, and it was her decision to put Pierce Brosnan in the Brioni suits, and Brioni had a lot of cross promotion with that. They put a whole book out about it, and he looked fantastic. Derek Meddings returned to special effects after doing, I think, his last one before this, For Your Eyes Only. A lot of model work, not so much CGI, which my friend here wasn't too thrilled with the model work. But
No, the radar dish was just so bad. It was you could tell right away it was a model. It looked bad on film. To me,
Yeah.
it still does to this day.
I cut him more slack than he does. But the thing is, the effects were aside from that, were pretty well done. If you realize the entire lake that gives way to the radar dish at the end of the film, that whole thing is a model. That's not a real lake. They scatter locations in Puerto Rico to find. They filmed that in the outside in Puerto Rico to find a lake they couldn't find one, so this recreated. So they did. Now the opening bungee jump in the film was done by Wayne Michaels, the stuntman, who actually you see later on in the movie. The 2 pilots that Xenia kills, one of them is Wayne Michaels, and so when he was back to do the jump, there was a member of the crew making a sign of the cross. And they asked him though what his thought was right before he jumped. He said he was thinking about Beavis and Butthead.
Hopefully, he didn't make a big impact in the picture.
No. Well, they actually when he did the jump, they were concerned. He was more concerned about getting the gun out, the piton gun, but they wanted to make sure it was in the shot as opposed to slamming into the wall. But it all worked out fine. Now, in terms of music, long-standing composer John Barry was not available. He was doing 2 other movies. Plus, his asking price was too high. So they decided, oddly enough, to use French composer Eric Serra, who developed a very unorthodox score. And a lot of electronic music not really heard before in a Bond film. But I remember when I got the soundtrack, I taped it and listened to my car a lot because it had been a long time since I had new Bond music listed. And it kind of grows me after a while. The run, shoot, and jump part of that's called on the soundtrack, that particular piece of music you hear in almost every single 90s action film trailer for the next 10 years. It showed up a lot. But for the pivotal tank chase scene in the movie, Sarah had scored. It's actually on the soundtrack when you hear the original version of it. And the Bond theme is in it, but it was done in such a way it was like in sync with the sound effects in the scene. And they said no, that wasn't right. So they brought in Sarah's orchestrator John Altman and with Sarah's permission, to develop a music for the scene. And that's the only time you guys hear the James Bond theme in all of its glory. And that was 2 weeks before the film actually was released for screening. Cubby insisted on that, and that's what they did. Now the main title song was offered to the Rolling Stones, but they turned it down. Tina Turner was signed, and although Eric Serra was working with her, Bono and the Edge came up with their own version of the song. And it was a race to see what she liked the most, and she liked Bono and the Edge's song. Now the song itself actually tells a story of how Pierce Brosnan became James Bond. If you're aware of that, there's a whole story here about that. Okay. So some have asked, what does lyrics mean? Inspired by the line, "You'll never know how it feels to get so close and be denied." One person loosely associated with the band U2 claims the song is about Brosnan's journey to the role. Not only that, but the lyrics are reportedly written as if Brosnan, not Bond or Trevelyan, is singing them. One further evidence here from another member. Sorry, I'm not going to go the whole thing, but it does tell the Brosnan's version, Brosnan's journey to become James Bond.
Lyrics.com.
Yeah.
Look up.
So, now, as Maurice Binder had passed away, the title designer, then with Danny Kleinman, music video director, directed the music video for Gladys Knight's License to Kill in '89, and he came up with the title sequence, and he came up with the idea basically to tell the collapse of the Soviet Empire with these scantily clad women, destroying the Russian symbols. And apparently, the Indian Communist Party, I guess they had one, was very upset with this, and it almost stopped the release of the film in India. But clearer heads prevailed by the end, and it still was released. And Kleinman also did the 3D effect of the gun barrel, which was new. Okay, so the film itself was done at Leasden Aerodrome near Watford in the United Kingdom, and this plane was unavailable, and they took this abandoned Rolls-Royce factory. In 8 weeks, production designer Peter Lamont got it up to shape to do a movie, and after that, I think it was used for the Harry Potter films. Okay, and they did location shooting in Switzerland, Russia, Monte Carlo, and Puerto Rico, as well as locations out the UK, such as the Nina Valley Railway, where they also filmed the train sequence in Octopussy. On Pierce's first day of shooting, he was recovering from an injury, sustained at home when he sliced a tendon. So it's a scene when he meets Sikorsky and he's holding the PPK. They actually had to tape his pinky down because it kept flopping out. On the last day of shooting, Roger Moore showed up to visit because his son Christian was working on the film, and Pierce's son was working on it too, and he joked, "They sent for me, I'm back on the job." You know, so, but Pierce is still thrilled to see him. Now, while Roger was having a laugh, well, Martin Campbell molded. He molded Pierce's Bond much the same way Terrence Young molded Sean Connery for Dr. No. But he had him play to his strengths and not his weaknesses. But Pierce was nervous he wouldn't be good enough. He never got assurances while he was filming. And it wasn't until John Calley contacted him after filming was over and assured him that he was brilliant in the role. So now there was a product placement for the movie. The DB5 was back early in the film, but they wanted a new car for Bond, and BMW contacted them, and they had the prototype, the Z3, which he drove in the movie. But and the reason was because BMW would pay a lot of advertising for the film, and they liked the idea they would help market it. But it was added so late in production, but we didn't get to use the car. And Omega was used for the watch, and the first time that it was used in a Bond film, but it became a long-standing association between Omega and James Bond. I think it's been every subsequent Bond film, Omega's been the watch of choice for Bond. The scene where he drives through the Perrier bottles, in the tank chase, initially offered that to Coke and to Pepsi. They both refused. Yeah.
What company provided the suits?
The what?
The suit for
Brioni was the suit maker. But they had to empty every single bottle before the tank went through. Otherwise, it would have been too heavy for the scene. The promotion of the film went to overdrive. Magazines, billboards, all over the place. I remember I was in D.C. at the time looking for a job, and it was 2 months before you could see posters for Goldeneye. You knew something was in the air. On Pierce's birthday in May 16, 1995, he appeared in David Letterman when Letterman was in the UK, and his entrance was brilliant. I don't know if you guys saw that. He comes on, they play the James Bond theme for him. He's wearing a Brioni suit. There's 3 beautiful girls just standing there. He takes a sip of martini from each one of them, sits down. It's a great interview. But apparently Brosnan was very, very nervous before he did that. Okay, in July of 1995, the first teaser trailer was released, and I'm going to show that now.
You tested it. Next year. You tested it, not me this morning, so.
I tested yesterday.
All right, well, whatever.
Presume it still works.
Well, yeah, just watch the bad price. That's good.
Okay. You guys can see that. Okay.
Preparing to fast forward.
You were expecting someone else? No more foreplay.
based on that, they greenlit Tomorrow Never Dies before the film was even released. But the reaction was so incredibly positive for that trailer. Oh yeah. Okay, so anyway, the point is that it was still a gamble. They didn't know how Bond was going to do at the box office. It's been several years since the last film was released, but there was a lot of positive vibes for it, and they decided they were actually going to have an official James Bond convention in New York City in November of '95, the Sunday before the film was released. I went to the convention, and it was awesome. 800 people limited for the con, and when I get there, who's there greeting people as they come in the door? Desmond Llewellyn. She was shaking everyone's hand as they walk in.
Where was that held? Javits or somewhere else?
I think it was the Millennium Hotel.
Oh, wow.
It was a small. It was like 800 people. It was a limited thing, and they had. Pierce Brosnan was there. Martin Campbell, Michael Wilson, both the girls from the film, and basically it was a Q&A type thing. There were no autographs. I mean, I met Desmond Llewellyn because I actually done my thesis on James Bond in college. So, and my dream job, still is even this day, is to get a job working for the Bond people in some way. So I had a copy of my thesis with a cover letter and a resume, specifically for Pierce Brosnan, so I get to meet him, okay? And also any other Bond person I went to the convention. So I see Desmond Llewellyn, I hand him my thesis. He's thrilled to get this. He says, I'd love for you to have this. Are you sure? He's like, thank you very much. So it was just cool just to meet him. I mean, well, I mean, again, it's cute. I mean, yes. So in the photo, I'll show you the picture of us, which is we took. And then following that, they actually had the panels, and it was every actor who came out and answered questions. Somebody asked Desmond Llewellyn, "Have you ever met John Delancey?" He goes, "Who's that?"
Q.
He says, "Q." He said, "The omnipotent being for Star Trek: Next Generation." He goes, "I don't know what that is."
Perfect.
Well, it was perfect for him. I mean, it really was. So, and then the last guest I had was Pierce Brosnan. So, again, I wouldn't do this today. I know how conventions go and everything else. But someone asked him a question if he gave him a copy of a poem. So Pierce, he walked up to Pierce Brosnan. He reads the poem aloud to everyone. So I don't know what the hell this precedent for now. So it's my turn. I asked him when it came. I said, "Pierce, first name basis, of course. You're gonna be the best James Bond yet." And he said, "Well, thank you very much." I said, "When you filmed the gun barrel, how'd you go about that?" He told me 5 minutes later how he shot the gun barrel sequence. He said, well, he walked from one side of the screen, he said, walk from the other side of the screen. The first time they shot, like, at hemorrhoids, he said. So they reshot the scene. It's a great answer. So then, all right, so I figured, well, and I said, well, by the way, I have a copy of college paper I'd like to give. He said, sure, come on up. So he reads the title out loud to everyone, James Bond 007, Politics Are Forever, the political themes underlying the adventures of Cold War's most enduring hero. Wow, the one night reading this. So, he's not even in the thesis because it was written before he became Bond. But he actually walked to the side of the stage and he handed it to his mother, who was standing right there. So that was he was awesome. It was a great experience. So the point is, GoldenEye made a ton of money at the box office. It was an enormous success. Bond was truly packed. There was merchandising for the film, like the Corgi cars, that the toy Walther PPK was there. It was released in Britain. And it began a Bond renaissance. The GoldenEye video game came out in August of '97 that was released, but that made Bond big again too.
Because you hit the young generation. You hit the video game generation.
I actually had won once. I'm almost. I had won a baseball cap from a Tomorrow Never Dies baseball cap. So I was wearing it at a pizza place, the 007 logo on it. It's about 2 months before the film comes out, and this kid at the pizza parlor says, "Hey, that's like GoldenEye." So he knew from that he knew Bond. So yeah, but so anyway, that's the story. So Rob, I talk the whole time.
Yeah.
You want to say anything?
It's fine. It's fine. We got about 10 minutes, so just.
So any questions? Yeah, please.
I would say that the GoldenEye video game was bigger than the actual movie.
Okay.
Because the influence that
The
game
impact of it,
Yeah,
yes,
it-
globally,
So
yes.
many more people know James Bond from that one video game on
I would
N64
agree.
than they
It brought in a new generation, which it desperately needed, and that wasn't their intent. They just wanted to put out a new
Even if
game.
you go on Letterboxd, and
Here's
I was
Desmond.
looking at reviews reviews for GoldenEye, and some people like were jokingly reviewing and they say they made a great movie based off of this video game.
Bruce Firestein.
And that was one of the first shooter games
Yeah.
too. That way too. So
Similar
it
to
it,
Doom,
it,
yeah.
it brought video games to a new level also. So it
Revolutionized
new,
a lot.
new boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw like an interview with Bruce Firestein about that, and he said he was at a party. Someone asked him, he was the younger person. He said, "All right, well, GoldenEye really says the movie or the game?" He said, "The movie's okay." So, yeah. So what do you guys think of the movie?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, when was the first time you saw it? Was it in the theater?
Probably in the theaters and a few hundred times on DVD and on regular streaming,
Right. Right.
VHS.
Yep. VHS. Please.
There's a name you haven't mentioned yet. You mentioned everybody behind
Oh,
the
yes,
scenes,
please.
in front of the camera. 2 words. Alan Cumming.
Oh yeah.
No, he
Rick
did.
was
He
in
did.
it. Rick was.
He did
Yeah.
mention it. But yes.
How good is he in that role?
He's
He
phenomenal.
Boris. Yeah. He definitely stole those scenes. I agree 110%.
And
Very
he's-
good actor.
Yeah, he's great. And the whole film was really well cast. You know, I mean, top to bottom, there's not any weak character in the movie.
Again, my gripe was the
Special
plane
effects.
flying, the special effects, the plane upside down flying into the dish. It looks so cheesy and bad. That, to me, I mean, it looked so obvious that it was fake. You know, normally Bond has a higher standard. You shouldn't be able to notice those things.
Well, but another fact is that they only had $50 million budget.
Well,
So-
that's true too.
And
So.
Derek Manning's actually sadly died of a heart attack in post production, and the film was dedicated to him. So,
Wait.
okay.
Yeah. No.
You
No.
can go.
Yeah. We get
The
you.
film came at a very important part for James Bond in its history. It had been 6 years. I worked at a video store at the time, and the Bond films were very popular with people 40 and over. They kept being re-released on VHS. They were evergreen titles. They would always sell.
The ABC movie of the
Yeah,
month.
Sunday
Every
night.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Sunday night, yeah.
That's how I got hooked into it. I went and saw
That was like
Moonraker
TBS
with my
too.
dad in the theater. That's how I got
Take
into
a
it.
giant step for
TBS,
mankind.
Fun Except for
TBS,
Yeah.
well, TBS had the whole,
TBS had
and
the
that was
whole
like,
run.
with the whole thing with,
Yep.
with the lawsuit. When TBS did that, that was part of the, you know, the undervaluing of the series. That's when it was behind the lawsuit. But that was great. They showed them all the time, and the promotional stuff was. I remember the girl saying, "You want a Bond?" and the when they did the
So-
commercials.
So
Yeah.
the series was at a real crossroads.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until that teaser trailer that was so good that we had younger people coming into the video store starting to rent the older James
Really?
Bond films, preparing for the movie. They're like, I've never watched a James Bond film before, but have you seen that trailer for GoldenEye?
Wow.
What should I watch?
Wow.
Actually, that should be a question for Kenny because Kenny used to work in a video store.
Yeah.
Well,
Making a
friend of mine-
blockbuster night.
But a buddy of mine that in Mississippi, who actually met at the Bond convention, he went to a video store and they had like this reel they were showing like 4 different scenes from GoldenEye.
Yes.
And he actually sent it. I have a copy of that.
Yeah, that was for the VHS
Yeah.
release.
But it was before the movie was released.
Oh, was it?
It was like
I
2 or 3
remember
months
one
before
from
it came out.
afterwards. Okay.
He sent it to me, and it's funny. It's scored with Barry music, basically. The scene with Xenia and him together is actually used the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang stuff from Thunderball, and the tank chase. They don't see the whole. But right before you don't see the tank. Right before the tank chase, when he escapes at the interrogation scene, and he's shooting, which is it's just all these Russians. Not that they were innocent, but it's weird that
Yeah.
it goes up all that. So that's actually scored with the trailer music. That's from John Parody and husband and wife team.